行くぞはっジェノサイカッタ
What's happening, everybody? Welcome back. This is Forgo, and today I want to address a couple things that I was seeing in the comments from yesterday's video about the charging skills and about the fact that Yuri does have burn. You know, a couple criticisms that a lot of players have, and I do feel are legit criticisms. I really do. I mean, I can understand why someone would be upset of seeing more burn, right? I mean, when you look at the SS characters and you look at how many have had burn, you got Honoka, Kay, Mai. You have, I mean, even Iori has burn on his default. That's 4. Kyo, that's 5. I mean, that's 5 characters with burn SS versions, right? That's a lot, right? It is a lot of characters, and I do understand. And then, of course, Leona being a BS character is burn also. So, I mean, that's 6 characters out of the BS and SS version of the characters that do have burn, and that is a lot, right? It does seem like Netmarble kind of slacks on certain dot effects, especially a dot effect like poison. You know, one criticism that I heard in the comments was the fact that King, even though one of her skills are called Venom Strike, it doesn't appear she has poison. And that's true. You know, I mean, it would make sense for the character to have poison. It really would, right? In fact, it would be insane if she had poison and darkness. That would be absolutely nuts. Oh, but the thing to remember, my friends, you know, it's about the dot effects is, one, we don't know if they're going to have double dots. We have no idea. I mean, we know that King has darkness. We know that Yuri has burn. And I do understand why some of you are upset about that, right? You feel like, oh man, it's just lazy. Why didn't they just give her Starlight? I mean, that is a very sought after dot effect, right? I mean, and I admit too, you know, if I see Starlight on a character, a newer character, I'm going to be like, that can be very, very useful, right? Especially in Guild Raid, or if we ever even get an Immortal Dungeon where it requires Starlight. However, we don't need that right now. But I would think that in the future we would get it, because we get more and more Starlight characters as we go. I mean, you know, you got Marie over here that's got Starlight. Kyo's got Starlight. Athena's got Starlight, right? Chrysalis got Starlight. I mean, there's quite a few characters that do have Starlight right now in the game, aside from the ones that are just regular Fest characters like Elizabeth or Hanato. So I understand why some people would be upset about that. I totally get it. I really do, right? I want to see some different dot effects as well. And I did make a comment where I said, you know, even if a character doesn't have the dot effect that you want, they still can be applicable, but there is a caveat to it, right? I mean, you got a character like Kay, who I think is a terrific character, but is he as strong as other characters? Is he as good as other characters in specifically Guild Raid? No. No, he's not. That's just the truth of it. He isn't. I actually was practicing with him earlier. I was using this build in Guild Raid, and yeah, you know, he just doesn't seem to break the meter as fast, right? He just doesn't shred that meter as fast, which is exactly what you want. I mean, whenever you do like Kyo's 3PG, you can, and you use like, say, a shock damage striker like Lady Ashiro, you can break that meter on Nightmare Geese. But with Kyo, or I'm sorry, with Kay, it doesn't happen. So I get the criticisms of it. I get the criticisms, you know, it's because, like, say, you know, so if they give like another burn or another dot effect that's been put in the game over and over and over, and the character just isn't that strong, like, it's only going to be good if you put a burn effect on a character and they're just, you know, they're decent, they're okay, they're good. That probably won't be good enough, right? Because they're being compared to a lot of other characters like Maisie, like Honoka, I mean, you know, like Kyo. These characters are insanely strong, like Leona, right? They are insanely strong characters. So really, for them to be put on the map, so to speak, thank you for the subscription, they need to be super, super strong. Yet we really don't want to see a lot of power creep, because games just get boring as we get power creep. So it's one of those things, my friends, where you got like this, you know, like, damned if you do, damned if you don't. I mean, Netmarble's kind of put themselves in a place right now where, like, if they make characters stronger than what we currently have, which is really kind of what they've been doing. I mean, they have introduced power creep quite a bit. You know, first it was Rugal, then it was Maisie, then it was Chrysalid, then it was Kyo, then it was Leona, right? Every one of those characters up the ante after, you know, after the other one, right? Every single one of them. And sometimes it was an SS version, sometimes it was a BS version, right? I mean, first you had Rugal, BS, then you had Maisie, SS, who replaced Rugal more or less. And then after Maisie was Chrysalid, BS. And then after Chrysalid, it was Kyo, SS. And then after Kyo, it was Leona, BS. So, I mean, if we're following that pattern, then maybe more than likely the new SS versions might be stronger than Leona, right? I mean, we really don't know. You know, the thing that I hope for and the thing that I would ask all the players is just hang in there. Wait and see if they have double dots. Wait and see how strong they are. Wait and see how good they are. I mean, if Yuri, you know, she has the burn. If she's super strong, I think for the most part, people aren't really going to care. They're going to be like, you know what? She's still super strong. She still can break a meter really quick. And Guild Raid isn't the only game mode in the game. It is the game mode that we do prioritize big time, but it's not the only game mode in the game. I mean, we have other game modes. And then the next thing is the charging skill. Now, I've seen a lot of legitimate criticisms about that as well, right? I mean, where would you use a charge skill in the game? Where would you use it? Where would it be applicable? I mean, are you going to use it in Spider Robot? Right? I mean, are you going to use it in this game mode right here? Well, I mean, I would assume not really. No, no, you're not going to sit back and charge your damn skill because you want to run through your skills as fast as possible, do your 3 PGs, switch to your next character, and do the same thing over and over and over again. Right? But the beautiful thing about the charge skill, as the dev team explained in the video, was that once their awaken skill is ready and you hit that awaken skill, the charge automatically sets itself. You don't have to sit there and hold it. As soon as you hit the charge skill, it's already, the power-up's already maxed out and you just run through your skills. You can just run through your skills over and over and over. So I don't think it's going to be a hinder in Spider Robot. Will it be a hinder in Immortal Dungeons? Well, I mean, whenever the Awaken skill isn't ready, yes, it will, right? If you're playing in the Immortal Dungeons, you know, you're going to want to spam your skills, right? But when you start off with your characters in Immortal Dungeons, you're going to go, you know, you do your skill 1, 2, 3, 2, 1, 3, whatever the order may be for the specific character that you're playing. You're still waiting for the Awaken skill to get off cooldown, and once it does, you just start spamming your skills. Well, the charge skill isn't going to change anything. Again, just like I previously explained, once the Awaken skill, you use it, the charge skill is already maxed out once you hit your skills, right? So in King and Yuri's case, once you hit the first skill, which is your charge skill, you hit your Awaken skill, you hit your first skill, the charge is automatically maxed out. So I don't think it's going to be a big problem in the Immortal Dungeons. I don't think it's going to be a big problem in Spider Robot. I do think, however, you know, like maybe in Guild Raid, maybe it will. But again, in Guild Raid, depending on how you play your character, right? This is where it gets a little wacky. Like if you're in Guild Raid and you're going to be playing your character and you're like trying to do a solo, well, you're not going to sit back and freaking charge. There's no way. If you're trying to do a solo in here, you're not going to sit back there and go and charge your skill. You're not going to do that. You're going to want to run through your skills. But once your Awakened skill is ready, then it's going to be a different story, right? And you're going to start spamming your skills. So we'll see how it plays out. I mean, you know, when you look at how Kay and Kula played out in Guild Raid, and by the way, Kula's actually really good in Guild Raid. I've seen some pretty damn good runs with her. Not so much with Kay, but definitely with Kula. We're just going to have to see how it plays out, guys. We're just going to have to see like how well it does play in here. Maybe it is going to suck. Maybe it won't be that great. It's not going to be as brain dead as other characters. And that does make characters less fun sometimes, right? When you have to think about what you're doing with a character, some people don't like that. Some people do. It's really going to depend on your perception as far as, you know, what character you really want to play with. And something else to note about the charge skill is, you know, in the video that we saw Yuri, she's like doing this little spinning ball thing, you know, in PvP. You know, is it going to be applicable there? Is it going to be viable there? Will it be good there? I mean, in PvP, if you're charging and they come at you and they do like hit you, but they take damage if they try to hit you, maybe it'll be good. But if they're using hyper armor against you, then maybe it won't, right? It's going to be one of those things where it's really going to be like this, guys. It's going to be like this. I think like the charge skills is going to be maybe good in some areas, maybe not so good in other areas, depending on how you play, right? Depending on how applicable it is in that specific game mode. You know, is it going to be a new OP gimmick that is going to be implemented, that's going to be in this game? I have no idea. I mean, if you're going to look at Kay and Kula as, you know, representation of doing different skills and how well they're going to be in the game, then probably not. But if you're going to keep an open mind and just see what happens in the future, wait until we actually get these up characters and actually play with them, then maybe you might change your tune, maybe you won't. I mean, we're just going to have to wait and see how well these things are actually going to play out. I mean, my hope for these characters is just that they're not stronger than Leona and Genetz. I really don't think we need any more power creep. But if they're just as strong as those characters, I think a lot of players would be super happy with them. Even if they were a little bit, just a little bit underpowered compared to them, they'd still be pretty damn happy because the characters would still be super strong. But, as far as charging, I mean, it's really going to depend, guys. We're going to have to play with these characters. We're going to have to play with the charge skills and see how they play out throughout the game. And as far as like all the characters with burn, I mean, look, I can't argue with that. There are a lot of characters with burn. I totally understand and sympathize with all of you about that. I mean, I admit, whenever I see characters with that, that effect, I'm like, oh man, I really would like to see something else. But at the same time, when I've seen what Maizy's been able to do, when I've seen what Keo's been able to do, although Keo does have Starlight on his default, that is something to remember. But even when you're using him just to try to break the meter, and you're not using Starlight, you're using him, like I said earlier, like with Shock Damage Striker, like Yashiro, or you're using Zhang Fei for a Poison Damage Striker, he's still freaking amazing. So, I mean, you never know. These characters might be really strong and really good, even though they might not have the dot effect that you really want for them. So I would just ask everybody, just to remain calm, wait and see what happens with these characters. Let's see if they have double dot. Let's see how the charge skills actually play out in the game before we start judging everything and jumping the gun. And I do like it that Netmarble is trying to change up things for these characters. I do like they're trying to be creative. Although, I will say this. I would prefer to get some more new content rather than a bunch of new characters rushed out in these banners. I don't think it's really a healthy thing to rush out characters over and over in the game. I think it'd be a lot healthier if we would get content where we'd actually need super strong characters. So I just wanted to address these things in the comments, and just let you guys know, man, just be patient. Wait and see what happens with these characters before we go judging them. And as always, I do stream on Twitch at 9 p.m. GMT plus 7 time. The link is in the description below. And I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. Y'all take care and have a good one. See ya.